Thirsty Thursday. Getting the calls early today. I'm excited about that. I know we have a lot of people that call in and, it's beeps on hold or whatever. We're going to get to it sooner so we can get more people, get two more people. So I'm excited about that. But I tell you what, this may not be the biggest slate, too, of college football this weekend, but there are some scary, scary games for certain teams that are trying to get into that playoff that we're going to get into as well.
Don't you think this will be the week we actually see the most movement and the most clarity?
You would think, but I mean, we haven't
expecting weekend.
We haven't had, it's crazy. In the year full of parity that we've had, we haven't had that just crazy, weekend or that off the wall weekend. It possibly could be. And it's not just the two games we're going to talk about either. There's a couple others that are a little bit scary for certain. Michigan going on the road in Maryland.
Loxley? What is that face?
Maryland's going to get killed.
Crab cakes and crab cakes. That's what Maryland does. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will miss the remainder of this NFL season. The NCAA denies a postseason waiver for James Madison, and we're previewing the top matchups and what we're dubbing Survival Saturday in college football. I'm Jay Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. Now, while there is no such thing as a bad weekend or off weekend of college football, the Week 12 slate isn't littered with top 25 matchups or big-time matchups across the board, as we've seen most weekends of this great college football season. But there is a couple of very sneaky games, one included, that could throw a wrench in what everybody's projecting the Final Four to actually be. One of those games is obviously Washington going to Oregon State, but that's a big-time matchup. That's 5 versus 11. We all know that Washington knows they have to be prepared to go take on an Oregon State team in Jonathan Smith that can do a little bit of everything and has shown the ability to not only stay in big games, but win big games over the course of Jonathan Smith's tenure. But one that is in the Big 12 that to me could throw the biggest wrench in the college football playoff is Texas going to Iowa State. Texas has been very status quo lately. It hasn't been fantastic. Quinn Ewers is coming back off injury, but in my opinion, still looked hurt last weekend. Jonathan Brooks is out for the rest of the year with an injury, and this Texas team has lost to Iowa State in, wait for it, 3 out of the last 4 matchups. Now, we're going to get into the new Big 12 tiebreaker rules and what a loss could mean, what a win could mean, who would go where if this happens, and tell you the scenarios. But if Texas thinks that they're going to go to Ames with this resurgent Iowa State team after Matt Campbell turned it around when he got into it with that fan and just roll their helmet out there and win, they are sadly mistaken. But I know that. And if I know that, then the Texas fans know that. And if I know that and the Texas fans know that, then I know the players at Texas know that. So at the end of the day, will Texas be able to survive in Ames? We're going to find out. There's also some trap games leading up to what's going to be rivalry weekend. For example, Auburn, New Mexico State. They're littered all over the board. Michigan has to go take on a Maryland team that it could get interesting with Mike Loxley and the boys there at home. So we're going to see. But at this point, all you have to do to arrive is survive. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. Guys, we always talk about trap games. We talk about, you can't be looking ahead. But especially when you get to the end, there's always those couple of games a year, or those couple scenarios a year that get thrown all out of whack because somebody does not handle business in a game that they have a better team than. And when we look at Texas and Iowa State, this is a great example. Texas, even with the injuries, has a better roster than Iowa State. Mm-hmm. If you look in this game, matchup-wise, Iowa State struggled to run the ball. Texas is really good stopping the run. But where Texas has been hurting is in the pass game. And it seems that Iowa State, with Rocco Beck's, kind of found something a little bit, and it's at home. Do you think Texas survives this weekend, David, going to Ames, going into the corn, going into to the craziness? I've been there, seen that stadium, been in that facility. Weird things happen in Ames, but this is one of those games where if they don't show up and not just play well, but play really well, they could lose.
It's been feeling like Texas is headed for another loss before the end of the season, right? The way they've been playing and we've been talking about, Quinn Ewers doesn't quite look right. Now they lose a running back. I know this game's on the road, and Iowa State can be sneaky. Won, four of their last?
3 of the last 4.
3 of the last 4. It just doesn't feel like this is the one for me. I think Texas is going to run into the Big 12 championship loss, possibly, which is more likely. But, they're favored by 7.5 right now.
Love Iowa State plus 7.5.
You
love Iowa State
so
plus 7.5. So
Texas minus 7.5 right now. The over under 47. The Washington one to me is even more interesting because Oregon State is favored in that game.
Yeah,
Oregon State is favored in Corvallis minus 2.5. The line's really not moving at all. The over under 63.5. We've been talking about this Washington team after their win over Oregon. That 3-point win, very impressive. They hadn't really looked the same, not really, quite looking as good as they once were, but keep finding a way to win. And they're one of those 5 undefeated teams we've been talking about. I'm a little surprised to see Oregon State favored here, but this Washington team is one where if Michael Penix Jr. has everything going and he stays healthy throughout the course of a game, they've been proven they can beat anybody they face without necessarily being the most balanced team on the field.
Well, what would worry me if I'm Washington, I think Washington can score against anybody playing. We've seen this Oregon State defense get torched in some games this weekend by offenses, or this year by offenses with a pulse. But it's the matchup. It's the style, right? We always talk about styles make fights. What does Oregon State want to do? They want to line up and run the ball. They don't want DJU to throw the ball 35 times. Even though their head coach is Jonathan Smith, the guy that played the quarterback position, he knows where this team's bread is buttered. And it's up front and it's in the run game. They've got in my opinion, top 5, top 7 offensive line in the country that doesn't get talked about enough. But with the new clock rule, you can run the ball, you can limit possessions. The more you limit possessions, the more Washington has to be perfect on offense in those possessions. Because I think Oregon State is going to be able to score some points in this game. Even though I'm not the biggest DJU fan of all, not saying that Michael Penix and McMillan and Polk and Dunsey and all those guys aren't going to go out there and roll up 45. But the more you limit possessions, the more you make the other team have to be perfect and score on said possessions every time they get the ball. I think the style of this game and it being at home, with the experience that Oregon State has, I know it's different. This isn't a trap game for Washington. Let's make sure we get that out of the way. You're going to play the number 11 team in the country. You can't get up for this one. You can't get up for any game, right? So, Blaine, when you start with Washington and Oregon State, when you look at this game, like I said, what would scare me the most if I was a Washington fan is their ability to keep my offense off the field and to have to narrow the path for us to be able to win because I have to be damn near perfect on offense.
Yeah, if you're the defense for Washington, you really want to win early downs in this game. You want to keep Oregon State off schedule. If they stay on schedule, they'll just slowly kill you with 1,000 cuts and run the ball to death and kill you with play action. If you're Washington in this game, your defense has to get up. You've been proven versus certain teams, all right? You're not the best defense in the world, but you're good enough to win football games like this. I'm going to get a lot of credit to DJU and what he's done since he's left Clemson. New phone, who dis? It's a glow-up situation. I lost 60 pounds, and you realize that Clemson was the problem, right? But right now, if you're Oregon State's defense, your pass defense is not great. It's not great. You have one of the best run defenses in the nation, but we're not that worried about that with Washington. Penix right now is playing too good a football. This defense has proven enough to me for Washington against good teams to where I think they can go in and beat an Oregon State team at home. This game's going to be a shootout. I think the over-under is 65.5, 66.5. So points will be scored in this game. And if it's like that, 63.5, Dave, if it's like that, I'm going to lean towards Washington every time. You're not going to beat Washington in a 3-point shooting contest if Oregon State can slow it down. If they can't control the line of scrimmage, if they can't stay on schedule with 35s or less, then you have to love Oregon State in this game. I don't think that'll happen. I actually think Washington's defense will be the difference in this game.
Well, it needs to be. I know we're going to go over keys to victory tomorrow, but the whole key to this game is Washington's defense being able to at least slow down the run enough to give a little bit of cushion to Penix and the rest of these guys. Because while Oregon State may not have the best defense overall, they've actually underperformed considering what I thought they were going to do coming in. They can force turnovers. All it takes is a couple and keeping up with Washington at home to be able to sneak this one out.
They're 8-2. Oregon State's 8-2 right now. Your next 2 games are against Washington and Oregon. So the difference between 8-4, 9-3, and 10-2 is, the 2 best teams.
They could ruin the Pac-12. Like Oregon State in the Final hoorah. It's just Oregon State and Washington State left in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
What an opportunity to be able to ruin Oregon and Washington's chances, two teams that are leaving you for a better-looking girl going to the Big Ten, right? And I don't blame them for it. What a better way than to ruin their chances of going to the playoff if you're Oregon State.
And they've proven they can win a game, like let's say against UCLA, 36-24. UCLA with a strong defense, but then they can also beat a really good defense in Utah, 21-7.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get to talk a little bit of the Big 12 tiebreakers and stuff in reactions, but there's some crazy stuff going on in the Big 12 lane. Texas and Iowa State, kind of where are you leaning there?
Are we giving up?
Well, I'm saying, where are you leaning right now? I'm not asking you for a pick. I'm asking where you're leaning.
I'm leaning Iowa State for a couple reasons. Losing Jonathan Brooks is huge for Texas. It's huge. If you watch that TCU game, once he went out, it just didn't feel the same. All right, something felt off. Why is your phone facing down on the table on our first date?
Yeah.
Something feels weird. I don't like it, right? Quinn Ewers, I agree with you. He doesn't look fully healthy. And another thing, like, with this Texas team, and it's always been the Achilles heel, no pun intended, their defense isn't the same. Like, you go back to, the only thing I've heard about this Texas team is defense and it should be. Texas will get over the hump with a good defense. But you can't tackle in space that well. You get someone stop the run. You got killed by TCU in the second half passing. You go back to that Oklahoma game, you couldn't get a stop when it really mattered. Texas's defense is still soft. They still don't have the guys, all right, to get you a playoff win, a Big 12 win. They don't have that elite defense. It could come in time, and SEC could change that. But right now, I don't like Texas in this game at all.
Well, it just feels like Texas is hanging on. That's what it feels like. You have teams that are like bursting through the wall right now that are peaking, right? You look at Alabama, you look at the way Georgia's playing, you look at the way Michigan's playing. It just doesn't seem like Texas is hitting their stride at the right time. It's almost like they're just trying to hang on. And you do not want to be hanging off the cliff going to Ames, Iowa. Like, I'm just
weird stuff happens.
Weird things happen at that place. I wouldn't be shocked if there's like Aurora Borealis, whatever the hell they call it, just all over the sky for this game. It's just, man, it's setting up to be very interesting. But
how about Alabama, Chattanooga? How you leaning?
This isn't like 1894.
Hey, the spread went down.
To what?
44.5.
Wow.
There's a lot of confidence, a lot of emotions running around in Chattanooga right now.
The boys in Chattanooga.
Well, we want to know what you think. Let us know. Is there a sneaky game out there that you're looking at that maybe we didn't talk about? Are you feeling more Washington, more Oregon State, more Texas, more Iowa State? Let us know in the comments. Remember, if you do donate, we really appreciate it. That question will get read at the top. But a great way to donate is to get some merch. And also, if you're looking for a gift this holiday season, or you want to make it a little bit easier when you're having parties or soirees or get-togethers or fiestas or whatever you call it in your house, well, look no further than Bartesian. All right, it's a home cocktail maker. It's a machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. We have one of these at the house. All right, it's unbelievably easy, right? And you will use it way more than what you think. And it's not just for alcoholic drinks. It's an absolutely fantastic product. And right now, our listeners can get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/Crane. That's BARTSIAN.com/CRAIN. You can choose from over 50 different cocktails with classics like margaritas, martinis, and old fashions to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. It's easier than making a cup of coffee. We all know that machine, how easy it is to make coffee nowadays. This is exactly that, but in an even better form.
Ooh.
Imagine Power Ranger, then Mega Ranger. This is the Mega Ranger. So give the gift of the Bartesian this holiday season. Shop Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever, available right now only at bartesian.com/Crane. That's BARTESIAN.com/CRAIN for Bartesian's best deal ever, only at bartesian.com/Crane. Message and data rates apply. See terms for details. Also, we're going to put the link for our merch in the description and in the chat. If you're listening on audio, we'll put it in the description so you can find all the stuff we have. The shop's almost sold out, and we are actually doing some stuff today with the new merch that we're excited about that we're going to be able to drop here very soon. I promise it's coming. I get asked about it at least once every day. I promise you it's coming. It's one of the best ways to help the show, too, so we really appreciate it. But having said that, Booster Club,
All right, let's go to Texas Ed with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Texas. He says, as for coaching hires, is there anything more dangerous and expensive than a program that is a David thinking that it should be a Goliath?
Is anything more dangerous to like that program?
Yeah, more dangerous and expensive than a program that is David thinking that it should be a Goliath.
Well, look, I've got no problem with you trying to move from the townhouse to the suburbs, man. Trying to go from the apartment or the duplex up to the penthouse. Half the time to get there, you got to think you have the ability to get there, right? I would rather my program be like, you know what? We're going to take a chance. We're going to invest because we want to be Goliath. I see us as Goliath, right? Don't forget Goliath lost, but that's a story for another day, literally. But when you look at somebody, if we're talking about the athletic director, we're talking about the president of a program. If I'm at a place that may be middling or may not be known for college football, I want to, at the end of the day, I can lay my head down on the pillow at night if we went for it and didn't reach it, as opposed to saying, man, I wonder if we would have invested if we could have done it. Man, I wonder if this really is a gold mine. You never get there if you don't have any commitment to it. You can never get there if you can't envision it. I say this all the time at places that may have, won in the past but may have been down lately, like in Nebraska or somebody like that.
Vandy?
No, that's never happened.
Disrespect.
But the standard, right? The standard should never be lowered, right? The lowering of the standard should never be accepted. But sometimes reality has to be accepted, right?
Sure.
First year with a new coach, new system, trying to turn it around, trying to rebuild, we get that. But the minute the standard is lowered, I use Auburn as an example for this. The minute you stop thinking you're as good as Georgia or Bama is the minute you're already beat.
Yeah.
It's the minute you're already beat. So, Texas said, I'm gonna say dangerous for another reason. I think it's dangerous to all the Goliaths when David starts thinking he can walk around in the yard with them and he invests in it. That's what I believe.
It's like one of those situations where the coach, you should be more worried when I stop yelling at you.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Let's go to Craig Montgomery. What's up, Craig? Hashtag Ask Craig. What does the committee do in the following scenario? Georgia, Michigan, FSU win out and are in. Texas and Oregon also win out. Who gets in? Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State.
See, Ohio State know that they're going to be out because they didn't win the conference, and you're dealing with two teams that did win their conference in Texas and Oregon, right? So Ohio State's out. Here's the way I look at it. I think this is when you be able to go back to your baseline criteria and then use the periphery around it. What do I mean by that? All right, overall record, you both got one loss. All right, did you win your conference championship? Yes, you both won your conference championship. All right, what is your best win? For Oregon, it would be Washington, most likely. Or let's say Oregon State beats Washington and Oregon State ends up being ranked higher than Washington was when they played each other. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, or then the Utah win could.
Then the Utah win could be the biggest. But either one of those, let's just say to make it easy that Washington would be Oregon's biggest win in the Pac-12 title game.
Yeah.
And what is Texas's biggest win?
Alabama.
It's Alabama. Both teams that are most likely going to be in the top 10 because Alabama would have 2 losses, Washington would have 2 losses. I don't think they kick Bama out of the top 10. So then you start going to trajectory, right? Like eye test. That's when it's which team is playing better right now. And in my opinion, I think it is better. And you got to think about Heisman too, with Bo Nix being in there. Don't think they're not thinking about that. I think it'd be Oregon because the Pac-12 is better than the Big 12.
Agreed.
That's what I would think.
And he asked, what would the committee do? I think it's Oregon because they've already shown you they put Oregon at 6 here.
Very good point.
And if both went out, I don't know if Texas would have an opportunity to jump.
It's a very good point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when Texas loses to Iowa State this weekend. I can't wait. Let's go to Porter Osborne Jr. What's up, Porter? He says, as it turns out, the SEC is still the best conference in football. No other conference has a top 3 as good as UGA, Bama, and Mizzou.
I think you can make an argument for it this year. There could be a legitimate debate, right? We've had this in the past where, and I love Danny Cannell and some of these other guys that'll come out and be like, oh, we need to have a debate about who the best conference is, or is this conference overrated or top heavy? In the past, it hasn't really debated. It's just been fodder. It's just been fun to talk about, generate clicks. Oh, say the SEC isn't the best conference and watch the set on fire because it's so obvious that it is. This year, though, I think we, for the first time, and I love it, have been able to have a logical and rational debate on why the SEC isn't the best conference in football, in college football. I still think right now, you look at the Pac-12, I mean, you put Oregon, you put Washington, and that third team, I think, is where you're kind of drifting a little bit. But I don't think Missouri is that much better than Oregon State.
All of it means nothing if the SEC wins another national championship, though.
Really?
It doesn't matter. It won't matter if there's only one great SEC team and every team in the Pac-12 is better than all the teams other than that one. If the SEC still wins another national championship, that to me is really all that matters at the end of the day.
So depth of conference doesn't.
I mean, it matters in terms of revenue and TV and signing the next deal and, your team. Like if you're a Missouri fan specifically and your matchup in a bowl game, all that kind of stuff. But how could anyone outside the SEC at the end of the year say, you guys were down this year and we had the best conference if Georgia or Alabama is hoisting the trophy again?
Well, again, I think it's just the way you look at it. Is it really down if one out of 25 years from a depth standpoint? Because that's the way I look at it if I'm judging the conferences, right? It's the depth from the top to the bottom. How good is the top? How good is the middle? How good is the bottom? That's how I judge the conference. Because again, I mean, one team can you look at the Big Ten. It's been very top heavy, right, with Michigan and Ohio State.
And they still haven't won a championship.
And I get that. It's going to change this year, though, with Michigan. I see what you're saying, but to me, I'm going to go depth of conference.
Let's go to Jared Howlett. What's up, Jared? He says, with all these pricey buyouts for coaches, at what point do schools just find the coach with the cheapest bid/price during the interview process?
I mean, I think you want all the information, but with the amount of money that these schools are making off college football revenue, whether it be through TV, whether it be through other avenues, you want to keep up in that arms race, right? We talk about keeping up with the Joneses. Why do you think the buyouts keep going up and up and up? It's because the price of getting one of these top-level coaches, and now you have places that are hiring coaches that aren't proven that are giving them these big buyouts. It just seems like the market for coaches keeps yielding higher buyouts because the price keeps getting driven up because it's still making an inordinate amount of money. These schools are still making a crazy amount of money off the one sport individually, so it's worth it to pay the coach that much. Where I have a problem with it is when you panic extend somebody. I don't even think it's as much about getting hey, we just brought in this proven coach. It's a pretty high buyout. Where the 80s mess up is when they bring in a guy that may not be as proven. Right, you look like the Mel Tucker situation, and they have a good year in the first year. They get so worried about other schools coming and scooping them that they give them all the money in this incredible buyout and this crazy extension. Then you realize 3 years down the road, that first year was just because Kenneth Walker was a dog. Like it's the panic extending and the panic contract renegotiation after one good year that I think is where the 80s mess up the most. Not even bringing in coaches that are proven and giving them a high buyout. Just my opinion.
All right, let's go to Jacob Russell with a $5 donation. Jacob, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. UGA three-peats. Is it more impressive than anything Nick Saban has done?
It's a great question.
Yes.
It's a great question.
Well, it's
would you rather three-peat or win 6 in 14 years?
Well, I think you got to look at like which bucket are we sitting here saying that it's most impressive? You have a short-term bucket, then you have a long-term bucket. You look at the amount of national championships and the record that Nick Saban has accumulated, and he's done it at multiple schools, right? He won at LSU. He won at Alabama, was able to build big-time programs, obviously, there that did things that they hadn't done in a long time or had now they're done before. Then you have the short term. Kirby hadn't been at Georgia that long, and he's going for his third national championship, right? Could have 4.
Yeah.
Could have 4 if they win it this year, which is insane. So, trajectory-wise, what Kirby Smart is doing at Alabama is more impressive to me because he's on the road. If they three-peat,
that's insane. And it's not like you just recruited a Cam Newton or a Tim Tebow or put this unbelievable class together that just rolled off 3 in a row and then you were done. That was kind of like the early
25
USC
drafted in the past 2 years.
Yeah, something like that. Like all 3 of these teams are different. Like all the guys from that first championship went to the NFL and played for the Eagles. Then they won it again. Now this team's different. And those first 2 are with Stetson Bennett, and now you've had a quarterback change and you've had an offensive coordinator change, and nothing has changed because you keep winning.
Well, again, I think the question too is, and you have to wait till the end to really make your decision. But who is the best college football head coach right now? And who is the best college football head coach of all time? Nick Saban, to me, is the best college football head coach of all time. But he's not the best college football head coach right now. I think Kirby Smart is, especially if they three-peat. But, all right, let's move on to a little sneak peek.
All right, let's talk about Louisville going to Miami.
Dude.
Obviously, Louisville can't afford another loss with that loss at Pitt, but they've overperformed in every way imaginable this season, and they're right there in the conversation to be able to go to the ACC championship.
You know, they messed up going on the road against Pitt. I think, you know, they're too mature to make the same mistake, but this isn't Pitt. Like, you're going on the road to play Miami. No disrespect to Pitt, and Pitt's had some really good years. They have a lot of tradition. It's a good program, but it's not Miami. You don't get the same feelings when you think of, oh, we got to go play Pitt, than you do, we got to go play Miami. Now, it seems that Emory Williams is hurt, that freshman they started against Florida State, who looked 9 feet tall on the TV, looks about half as tall as you, David, and they're going to go back to Tyler Van Dyke, who's been beat up, but we know he has that experience. Miami's defense. Here's the question I have. Miami's coming off a very emotional loss against Florida State where you went on the road, you got up to play that game. That was going to be kind of your last hurrah, right? Like your let's put a stamp at the end of the year. You know, this is our big rivalry game. Let's do it. You know, let's change kind of the trajectory a little bit after you thought they had turned it around after Kneegate. But this Louisville team, I'll continue to say, the most impressive thing isn't that they're just throw the ball all over the yard, and it's very cute, and let's get fancy with Coach Brom, who was a quarterback and an offensive guy, and just pray to God we can stop you on defense enough times. This is a physical, gritty, line of scrimmage, balanced Louisville football team. You don't want to have to rely on Jack Plummer alone to be able to get you through games and win it. They've won games with defense. They've won games with just running the ball. They've won games by setting the tone up front early, like the Notre Dame game they played at home, which I thought was one of the most impressive wins I've seen out of a Louisville team in a long time. I think Miami is still down. I think they're still, it's hard to get back up after you've gotten up 3 or 4 times. You just lost to your rival. Here comes Louisville, a team that's not going to come in here and we can just roll our helmet out and beat. I think Louisville goes and makes a statement this week, and I think they go ahead and get one step closer. And I think they may be able to clinch a spot in the ACC championship game. If they win this as well, I need to go back and look to play Florida State. But I like Louisville to go on the road and handle business. I think it's a 1-point spread, somewhere around there. I've seen one.
Is that what it is right now?
Yeah, I think I've seen one. I've seen 1.5. They're expecting to be a good game. Which Tyler Van Dyke shows up? Like we were going to ask which Jack Plummer shows up, right? We've seen good Jack. We've seen bad Jack. We've seen young Jack. We've seen old Jack. It's a lot of old Jack right now. It's about 45 years old, it seems like. But I like Louisville in this game.
Yeah, -1 right now, Louisville on the road. Miami started 6-2, Blaine. Should have been 7-1 if they kneel it out against Georgia Tech. Now they've lost their last 2 on the road at NC State and then on the road at Florida State. They kept that one close against the top 4 team in the country. Now they bring in Louisville. How's this one going to go?
You know, I haven't seen kind of a guy fall off so bad where the Van Dyke did this year.
Yeah.
Like it's been off a mountain.
Remember him against A&M? How good
he looked phenomenal earlier in the year because I remember we talked about he went on his social media cleanse, turned his phone off, you know, was talking to trees, was listening to wind, and was smelling the grass in the morning.
Love that.
And he came out and looked phenomenal, and just the scripts completely flipped. The biggest thing in this game is obviously there's going to be good defense played on both sides of the ball. Miami's got a pretty damn good defense we saw against Florida State. But which plumber is going to show up for Louisville? All right. Is it the plumber that comes in your house, fixes it 2.5 hours? Hey, man, appreciate it. We're going to get this payment off. I'll see you later. Or is it the plumber who comes in like, hey, man, I got to get some screws from Home Depot. Then you don't see him for 2 weeks. Okay? So that's what it comes down to with Louisville. If a good plumber shows up, you have to feel good about it if you're Lou because you can run the ball. You have Jamari Thrash, who's an NFL receiver. You have Brom, who's a great coach, an offensive wizard. Which plumber is going to show up? That's the question.
All right, let's stay in the ACC. North Carolina goes on the road to Clemson. We were talking about this one in our best bet, 7-point spread right now.
Yeah.
You like that?
Man, this game, you know, right when you think, you know who, you got a good feeling about North Carolina, this is what I've noticed. That they flip it on you, right? They're just a totally different person. They're schizophrenic. They're schizophrenic or bipolar, right? That's the one. Multiple personality disorder, whatever it is. North Carolina, beginning of the year, you look what they do against South Carolina, who we know is not that good up front. Not that North Carolina looked like they had a dominant defense, but they looked like the defense had really stepped up, right? This is going to be a solid unit under Gene Chizik. Just took a little bit of time. And they've had times this year where the defense has played well. But then you go see what happens against App State. Then you see a Duke team come into North Carolina. I know it's a rivalry game without Riley Leonard, right, without the secret sauce, and be able to put up points. So this Clemson offense has been up and down. We've seen that with Cade Klubnik. I don't want to bet this game because I don't know which North Carolina team is going to show up. I know who Drake May is, right? I thought when they got Tez Walker back from the NCAA, it's like, all right, here we go. North Carolina could really give FSU a run for this and maybe even sneak into the college football playoff. And you just see flashes. It's amazing. You know, when we look at some of these teams that are kind of regressing back to the mean defensively, right? You look at Oklahoma and what's happened. You look at North Carolina and what's happened. I think Texas is another great example. It's hard to get that out of you, to totally get it out of you. And this Clemson team, say what you want, but they are physical. They made it. We've talked about their lack of separation from the skill position on the outside at wide receiver. I think that's true. I like Shipley. I think Shipley's going to be an NFL player, but they don't have the same cats on offense as they've had in the past. But they're still physical. They play a physical brand of football. And I don't think North Carolina is going to be able to go. I trust Clemson's defense more than I do Clemson's defense against Drake May more than I do North Carolina's defense against Clemson's offense. As crazy as that sounds. And I know Drake May is going to be a top 5 pick. I'm one of the biggest Drake May guys out there. But I like Clemson to win this. I'm not betting this game, though. This seems like a 3 to 4 point game, right, that is back and forth, that Clemson probably jumps out early. Drake May makes a couple plays to get him back in it, and it goes down the wire. I'm not betting this game because I don't know who the hell North Carolina really is.
North Carolina, Blaine, they beat Minnesota, they beat Miami, they beat Duke, right? Their losses are to Virginia and Georgia Tech. And now they're going to go.
I'd say Virginia's the best 2-8 team in college football.
Of all time.
Sure.
Like the thing that worries, points will get scored in this game, but you have to like Clemson a little bit better because their front seven still put together somewhat SEC-ish. If you look like they'll have a couple of day one guys on that defensive line. Can North Carolina stop the run? That's the question.
Stop the run, you stop.
Drake May's going to score points, all right? He's going to be a top 5 pick, probably a top 3 pick. You got a couple good pieces at receiver, and I like your running back. Can you stop the run? You gave up 5 yards of carry versus Duke. Okay? You gave up 180 rushing yards versus Duke. Clemson wants to establish the run, and they want to establish it early. Will Shipley, a.k.a. Mr. Eat 4 yards a play, is going to go get 4 every play. So if you're North Carolina, how do you adjust to that, okay? You stack the box. You make Cade Klubnik beat you through the air. That is what you do. You mix it up. You move guys around the line of scrimmage. You move your backers. Show blitz, bail, everything you do to confuse Cade Klubnik. If it's me, I'm not letting Will Shipley beat me in this football game. You use Cade Klubnik and use those mediocre skill players they have out wide.
All right, let's move on to one more here. Arizona and Utah are both 7-3. I didn't have that on my bingo card. Arizona's going to get Utah at home, then they get Arizona State for a chance to win 9 games this season.
Jed Fish, doing an incredible job out of Arizona. We've talked about it a ton. This game is in Arizona, correct? Utah goes to Arizona.
Correct.
I tell you what, I think Utah can move the ball against this Arizona defense and score, but it seems to me that this Arizona team, and this is maybe the most impressive thing that Jed Fish has done, has found ways to win. It's in their DNA now. Like, winning is expected at Arizona late in games. That's probably the hardest thing to flip, in my opinion, is that you can say all the right things to your players. You know, early you go recruit guys, bring in talented guys, but establishing that culture of winning and that true belief that you're going to win. Not that I hope we win. Not the, man, I really wish we'd win this game. It's close late. I really wish we win. It's that feeling of we're going to win this game. You know, I feel like as a fan, because we're all a fan of somebody, you have those years where you're watching your team where it's kind of the same thing, where you're like, this group is going to find a way to win this game. It almost brings you a peace or a calm throughout watching the game, even when it's going bad. Then you have those years where you're like, oh my God, I am going to worry this whole game because we are going to find a way to lose it. I think Arizona has turned that corner. I think when Arizona fans watch a football game right now, or they get ready all week for a football game, whether it be big, whether it be medium, whether it be small, they have a true belief that this Arizona team is going to go win. And I think that permeates throughout the program. So who am I to tell them that they're not going to win? It's at home. I think they're confident. It's a newfound confidence. It's like newfound love, right? You're smitten with it. You're smitten with winning. And that's you know, you never want winning to get, you want it to be the norm, but you never want to lose that feeling. Give me Arizona to find a way. I don't know if it's going to be on defense. I don't know if it's going to be on offense. I don't know if it's going to be on special teams. I don't know if they're going to invent a way to win. But this Arizona team has found ways to win. Utah's not operating at its highest efficiency level without the Dark Knight Cam Rising. So give me Arizona and give me the Fishermen.
3 straight ranked wins, plus the road win at Colorado gives them 4 straight. And Arizona's sitting here at 3rd in the conference.
I mean, I think their last loss was in triple overtime against USC, 43-41. If you go through the losses down their schedule, they're just gut-wrenching. Mississippi State, OT.
Should have won.
Washington, 31-24. Then you lose in triple overtime against USC. I mean, they're playing with everybody on their schedule. Why wouldn't I sit here and think they could play with Utah with a Bryson Barnes kid who's an okay? It's a strawberry beard. She-wolf. It's okay right now. You love what Cal Winningham does at Utah. We talk about identity with Cal Winningham every time we talk about Utah. There's an identity getting built around Arizona right now. All right, it seems like a bunch of guys who don't even know the situation that's going on. They're just out there playing football. They're playing with nothing to lose. They're playing loose and playing confident. This game is at Arizona. I think Arizona's -1, so it's basically a pick 'em.
Basically a pick 'em.
Give me the Wildcats in this game. I really think they finally get over the hump against a team like this.
Without a doubt. And speaking of winning, I don't care if you're an Arizona fan, I don't care if you're a Washington fan, a Florida fan, or a Syracuse fan. Shout out to our boy Jimbo. You need to have great meat if you're going tailgating, or even at the house cooking dinner. Steak, chicken, seafood, pork, bacon, the whole gamut. And our friends over at Good Ranchers, their Black Friday Your Way sale is live right now, and it's something you don't want to miss. We always tell the fellas, hey, fellas, look, this sponsor would be a great idea, a great gift for the ladies. And I'm not saying ladies don't grill, all right? My wife, she's a witch around the grill in a good way, all right? But ladies, if you're watching, this is an incredible gift for the hubby, all right? And it's the gift that keeps on giving. This November, you get to pick your favorite meat to get free for a year, all right? Let me say that again. This November, you get to pick your favorite meat that you get for free for a year. Between steak, salmon, chicken, or bacon when you subscribe to any box right now. What is Good Ranchers? They're a meat delivery service. It's 100% American-based. It is an unbelievably great product. We have it all the time. There's literally steak and chicken sitting in my freezer right now that we have every other night. We've had it in 30,000 different ways. It's always fresh. I never worry about the source of it. Whether it's feeding your kids, you don't have to worry about it being contaminated with all this crazy stuff that they have nowadays. It is pure and it is awesome. But better yet, when you subscribe to any Good Ranchers, when you subscribe to any box on GoodRanchers.com, you not only get a free gift of meat worth up to $480, but you also get $15 off with code BOOSTER. So claim your year of free meat, $15 off, and free shipping with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at GoodRanchers.com. They're the #1 place to get all-American beef, pork, chicken, and seafood. That's promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at GoodRanchers.com. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. I'm telling you, hop on that. Just trust me. All right, if you're going to do anything today, get this handled.
Do it.
Really, really easy. All right,
for the holidays.
Yep, let's get to the Booster Cup quickly. Lines open for calls here in scanning 7 minutes. All right, we're going to get to calls early, so if you're on hold, we're going to get to you. Just call back. Trust me, Blanye.
All right, let's go to Dom. What's up, Dom? He says, can you guys talk about the Colorado-Washington State game real quick?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I mean, Washington State's fallen off a cliff.
Can't believe it.
Didn't see that one coming.
Nope.
With Cam Ward and what Dickert was doing out there. And, it's kind of us against the world with game day, talking about how, it's the game that nobody's watching. You remember that? Mm-hmm. With Colorado, this game looks a whole hell of a lot more winnable than it did a couple, before this kind of falling off of a cliff. But Colorado up front is still very deficient. I feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. I mean, we obviously know what Shadur is. I feel like Washington State, obviously you want to get back on the right track. You've lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Is that what we said, David? So overall, they're what, 4-6?
Hold on, I'm on it.
Somewhere around there?
So they have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, and they started 4-0.
So they're 4-6. It's a must-win for bowl eligibility. For that reason, I think Coach Dickert gets them up. I like Washington State, but I like it high-scoring, possibly overtime. And Colorado's still learning how to win, right? What was the difference between Arizona and Colorado last weekend? Arizona found a way to win. Colorado found a way to lose. That's a real thing. Give me Washington State at home this weekend. Coleman, Timmy B, that's the game he's going to be at. Our guy, Timmy B.
That's right. Well, they were plus 4.5 when I took them in the best bets of the week. Colorado was plus 4.5.
Yes, where they at now?
That. That I don't know.
Okay, we'll keep looking at that. Hey, Turley, throw the number in the chat. If you can do that for me, that'd be great. Andy, go ahead and look at that. All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Brian Hardhead.
Nice.
All right, he said, hey, I heard the Texas A&M Mississippi State jobs are open. I think I'm a shoe-in for the job. Let's get this program on track.
Coach
Brian Hardhead, a.k.a. it's Brian Hardison.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, huddle up. We're in trouble. I don't know if you saw the meme that we put out yesterday about the A&M job. I'm going to keep saying I think Urban Meyer's the best fit. We'll see what they do. Will they land on Mike Elko? Will it land on Jamie Chadwell? Somebody like that. But Boise State's open, Brian. Didn't know if you knew that. Be accountable and lift weights.
All right, let's go to JC. What's up, brother? He says, guys, quickly, if you could you talk about a little bit of SMU Memphis? Big game in the American this week.
Over. Can we pull up the American standings real quick?
Yes.
But by the way, shout out to Rhett Lashley, one of our favorites. We're big fans of his, and he's a fan of the show. Go ahead.
All right, the American Athletic Conference, correct?
Yep, AAC.
All right, Tulane Green Wave, obviously 6-0. The SMU Mustangs, 6-0 in conference, 8-2 record. UTSA Roadrunners, 6-0 in conference, 7-3. Memphis Tigers, 5-1 in conference, 8-2. Then you go to Florida Atlantic, FAU, 3-3 in conference, 4-6.
Yep.
Then it's blase.
Yeah, this is a huge one. Obviously, if you're SMU, if you get to that 7-0 mark, you got to be feeling really good about it. Points. I believe this game is at Memphis. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I like what Silverfield does, especially being an old offensive lineman that runs an offense that didn't just kind of smash your head against the wall. Hannigan's a guy that's got a lot of experience at quarterback for Memphis. They have some big playmakers, as Memphis usually does, right at the skill position. This game, I think, is going to come down to who has the ball last. I mean, I watched SMU score 50 points in the first half the other day. I don't care if it was against Bishop Sycamore or Becky the Icebox and the Little Giants. That's impressive. Rhett and them, they're going to throw it around. Memphis, I think, is a little more balanced than SMU, but if you want a high-flying game, if you want a lot of points, if you want a lot of big plays, and you want to see the ball pushed down the field, there may be more downfield throws in this game than just about anywhere on the planet this weekend. I can't wait for this one. I'm definitely taking the over. I think it was at 66.5. Last time I saw it, something like that. This is an over special. I know sometimes people say, two great offenses or two really good offenses take the under, kind of go against the grain, but I'm taking the over.
Talk about those playmakers from Memphis. Rock Taylor, 50 receptions.
What a name.
Year, 779 yards. And then Blankumsey, 40 receptions, 669 yards. He always seems to make a big catch from Memphis.
He does, or make some crazy catch.
Yeah.
So, no, that's what I'm looking forward to. The American's going to be – we talk about the Big 12 and getting all wonky and the tiebreakers and all that coming down the end. The American Conference, really, really quality conference. I love Mike Orasco. I think he's one of the best conference commissioners in the country.
I was going to Chase Mills, been due to my entire life, my guy. He says, what if Riley goes to A&M and gets Arch to transfer?
No. Talking about Lincoln? Lincoln's not leaving USC. I know you're not talking about Garrett Riley. The only way he leaves USC is to go to the NFL, in my opinion. But it's fun to think about. I don't think Arch is leaving Texas either. You heard what we thought about that yesterday. But let's hear what we think about these NFL power rankings.
All right, let's go to the NFL. We're going to rank the top 9 between us right here, live roundtable fashion, and the Booster Club gets the 10th pick. Also, some NFL news. Keep in mind, Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is going to miss the remainder of the season with that shoulder surgery.
Man. Still getting paid, though.
And Dorian Thompson-Robinson is slated to start.
DTR, come on, man.
Go do your thing. I
thought
Daniels.
PJ's played well this year, too.
He has.
I really thought
He's
PJ's
got 5 picks and 1 interception. I mean...
Or 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
Whatever I meant to say.
Yeah, I knew.
1 touchdown.
Sure.
I was going to say, guy, he has 6 interceptions?
What's the difference between a pick and an interception? Am I losing?
Yeah. All right, who's starting?
You start us off, David.
All right, well, if I'm starting off, I'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles, 8-1. Been winning in every way imaginable. I mean, they've won ugly games. They've won in blowout fashions. They're on a 3-game win streak since that surprising loss on the road at the Jets. And those wins include 31-17 over the Dolphins, 38-31 over the Commanders, and then a 28-23 win over the Cowboys, who are looking better and better. And then guess what? We get a primetime matchup with the Chiefs this weekend, which should be a lot of fun.
It's really easy for me to pick the Kansas City Chiefs here. 7-2, right? Have Patrick Mahomes. But I like the healthy San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to mix up a little bit. I think the 49ers are the second best team in the league. Debo's healthy. You look at what they have up front on both sides of the ball. I know the Chiefs won it last year with probably what's going to be the worst skill position roster that Patrick Mahomes has while he's in the NFL. But something about this Niners team this year, going through a little bit of those struggles, dropping 3 straight. Some people kind of fell off the wagon with them a little bit. But after watching them last week, they seem a little bit supercharged. Give me the 49ers, second best team in the NFL.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. I think even with a couple bad outings, you saw what they did against Denver. You still have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Nick Bolton's still a little bit banged up. He's going to get back and kind of anchor down that defense, especially that front seven. Chris Jones, one of the best in the league. And Andy Reid's your head coach. And we've seen big moments. And this is when this team is at their best. So the last thing I'm going to do is going to bet against the Chiefs. That roster hadn't changed that much. I love the receiver they got. I believe he got it from Houston last year, Rashid White, I believe his name is. The kid's going to be an absolute problem coming into the league. So give me the Chiefs.
Rashid Rice?
Rice.
From SMU.
Yeah, SMU, absolute dog.
All right, then at 4, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. 7-3 right now. They were on a 4-game win streak before this loss to the Browns, which it got really weird, just ugly at the end there. So they lose a close one, 33-31. But they had blowout wins, 38-6 over the Lions. Big win, 37-3 over the Seahawks. We're going to find out a lot more tonight. They host the Bengals tonight in primetime on Thursday Night Football, which is
should be a great
that should be a great one. But at 4, I'm going to go with the Ravens and the way that Lamar and this team's been playing recently.
Yeah, I'm excited about that game tonight. At 5, man, I'm going back and forth between the Dolphins and the Lions. Just which defense do I trust more? I think both these offenses can score. I think Miami is obviously a little bit more electric when you have Tyreek Hill. It tends to work out like that. I think I trust the Dolphins more as a team overall than I do the Detroit Lions right now. Defensively, the Lions have shown flashes. They're a little bit beat up right now on defense. I just think the Dolphins overall, not by a lot, but if they played neutral field, Tua now has cornrows, give me the Dolphins.
God, yeah, I saw that. Dude looks like a Hawaiian Drake.
He looks like GTA, he's coming up.
Look, give me the Lions, baby. Come on. I mean, the absolute mindset. Look, you knock us down, we're going to get up, bite a kneecap off. You knock us down, we're going to bite the other kneecap off.
Damn.
Look, the Lions can do what? The Lions can line up and run it at your face. Don't matter the team, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when. We'll meet you dusk in Argentina if we have to. And that's what I like about the team because it travels. Their defense, skeptical hippo. We know this. They've been skeptical. Their secondary is not great, but they're young and they're getting better. And I think Jared Goff, the gumball smuggler, is having one of his best years. Yeah, David Montgomery is back. Helped busted an 80-yard runoff last week. And I think Amon looks great. Laporta's going to be a great piece down the road. So give me the Lions.
Love Laporta.
All right, so that gives me what, 7?
7.
Pick 7. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. I'll take the Cowboys. Won 3 of their last 4. Big win over the Giants last weekend. They kept it close against the Eagles. They also had a nice road win at the Chargers. Dak Prescott, to me, is pushing the ball down the field to CeeDee Lamb more and more. You can see that. That's evident. He's also escaping the pocket. There's some time management issues at the end of some of these games that we've talked about, which really you don't expect when Mike McCarthy and that staff over there has cumulative number of years coaching in the NFL, back to the merger just about. But I like this. Like in the regular season, you can trust the Dallas Cowboys, right? We're not talking about the playoffs right now. We're talking about right now, Week 11 NFL. So I'm going to put the Cowboys at 7.
Yeah, at 8, I've got to go with the Seahawks, right? I mean, you're sitting there at 6-3, tied in the NFC West with the Niners. I'm just looking around the rest of the league. I mean, who else am I supposed to put here? I don't trust the Jags. I trust the Seahawks more than the Jags. Watch
your mouth. You come in my house.
Hell, to be honest with you, at this point, I almost trust the Texans more than I trust the Jags.
Taking the Texans over the Jags right now is not crazy.
Yeah, the Texans over a lot of teams. You can take Texans over the Seahawks.
Well, you look. You got the Steelers at 6-3, which
they're in the same division.
The Steelers and the Browns, and maybe the most ugly 6-3 that there's ever been ever. And then you look at the Bills. Ha 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 ha. Y'all cost me my survivor pool. I hope you guys lose every game and everything you attempt to play. Sitting there at 5-5, but no, Geno Smith. Look at what, like it wasn't just a flash in the pan. Kenneth, don't call me Luke Skywalker, even though I'm a stargazer. DK Metcalf's obviously a monster. We know what Tyler Lockett's been doing his whole career. That Pete Carroll and that defense. I know they've been a little bit up and down, but give me the Seahawks at 8.
All right, so the AFC North, every team in the AFC North has a winning record right now.
I know.
We already have the Ravens in there. Is there any other team from that division you're taking? You're going to go AFC South, Jags, Texans?
Well, one thing I'll say about the Seattle Seahawks, it's amazing they're 6-3. Geno Smith is having a really mediocre year. Like from last year, like it's not even remotely in the same boat. I mean, why would I not pick the Texans? Like, let's be honest here. Why would I not pick the Texans? Big win over the Bengals. You know who the two leading passers are right now in the NFL?
C.J. Stroud and
Jared Goff?
Patrick Mahomes.
Sam Howell.
Really?
C.J. Stroud and Sam Howell. And it's not only the way the Texans are winning. Obviously, C.J. Stroud's playing phenomenal, but their defense is scrappy as well. I mean, that's the DeMeco Ryans coach football team. I mean, Tank Dell, if you have a name like that, you're automatically good at football. The reason he got that name because the kid called him Tank because his head was huge growing up, which is hilarious. Usually guys like that are phenomenal at football. Noah Brown came along, had 180.
He freaked out last week.
You have Dameon Pierce, who's going to be a problem in the NFL.
Singletary did a good job coming in.
Good, but when Dameon gets healthy, and you just have a bunch of guys who are young and believe in, I think one a good anchor that they have is Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
The Cowboys plays tight end. And for a guy like C.J. Stroud like that, an emergency blanket, someone he can trust on, third and short on certain downs, it's great for them. So give me the Texans at 9.
Is Pierce healthy?
Yeah, he didn't play last week. Singletary played for him. I think he's just banged up. I don't think it's anything super serious. But all right, chat, good luck with this one. I know.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. So chat, get in there and tell what you think because they have to hear the Ninth team.
Yeah.
Right. So give him a second. We'll get it in here. We already got some coming in.
All right.
All right, let's roll to reactions here. The NCAA has denied a postseason waiver for James Madison University, who's undefeated, and Jacksonville State, as well as Tarleton State.
I mean, this rule should have been stopped in the first. The rule that, you move up, or you move up to get into a conference. You can't play for the conference championship. You can't play in a postseason game. We had to deal with this when I was at South Alabama. It makes no sense. Like, if I had to sit here, and this is a layup for the NCAA.
A layup.
This would have been so easy for them to garner some good juju,
some
right?
much-needed juju.
Some much-needed good juju. But again, they just, can't get out of their own way. That's typically what bureaucracy does. But I'm having trouble understanding who this rule helps. Like, it's amazing, too. You don't see this when you're not moving up, right? Texas and Oklahoma go to the SEC. They're not ineligible first year, right? Oregon and Washington, they go to the Big Ten. They're not ineligible the first year. Why the hell is James Madison? Why were we at South Alabama? Why is Jacksonville State? You mean it's not a safety thing. I'm having to play the damn schedule. I'm having to run into the same guys full speed as everybody who's been in the conference has to full speed. It's a stupid rule. It's an archaic rule. It needs to be done. And guess what? When the NCAA is untethered from college football, which is where we're going, we don't have to worry about dumbassery like this because that's what it is. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes nobody better. It helps no one. It only hurts the team and the players that are competing. I think it's an absolute joke. But again, just add it to the list.
It's standard operating procedure for the NCAA. But these teams can play in a bowl if there aren't enough eligible teams at 500 at the end of the year. So just, they get like slim pickings basically at the end. But you had an idea.
There's a way to fix this.
Yeah.
All right. There's a way to fix this. It's the Daily Wire Bowl.
There we go. Good Rancher is sponsored.
Good Rancher sponsored. JNUSL can be in there. You bring JMU.
Right here. Nashville.
Yeah. Liberty, whoever the hell.
Yeah, Vandy's not using there.
No. Yeah, we'll go play in Vandy Stadium. Okay. Why is no one protesting the NCAA? Did we just need to go find some fat people with no jobs and purple hair and pay them $20 in a Kit Kat bar to go stand in front of the NCAA facility and hold up a picket sign for a couple hours? I mean, there's people protesting less than this. We could put some money somewhere.
Wait, should we do that thing where like should we go to the NCAA and like just put orange paint on it, like handcuff ourselves?
Yeah,
to the
and
building?
then give a speech.
Yeah, like they do with like Da Vinci's paintings.
No, we need the Booster Bowl. We need the Booster Bowl at the end of this year.
I love it.
Madison, Jacksonville State, they meet here.
Do you think we could talk to Bucky's? You'd love that, wouldn't you, big fella?
Where's Bucky? Where's little Bucky?
He's right there. I'm looking at him.
Oh, there he is. He's
that Badger.
Yeah, I would like that. You guys introduced me to Bucky's. All right, next one. Big 12 tiebreaker rules. It's a real Marty Huggins situation, Jake. It's a mess. Needs to be cleaned up. Can you help explain it to people?
Yeah, why are we changing things halfway through the season? or not even like past halfway through the season. So, and I want to give credit, and this I'm trusting here. George Stoa III. All right, so he covers Oklahoma football for Sooner Scoop on On3, our good friends over there. So originally, and again, in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong here, but originally in the Big 12, what they said was, if we have a certain number of tied teams, right, it goes through tiebreakers, there's no more in divisions. If we have a certain number of tied teams, and all of those tied teams at the end haven't played each other, then head-to-head does not matter, right? So if you have 4 teams, and all of them haven't played each other, then head-to-head doesn't matter. But now they're talking about changing it to where head-to-head does matter. I'm going to make this very simple. For people that are trying to follow along. Because this helps out Oklahoma State, all right? And it does hurt. And it's looking like this, in my opinion, it's kind of a way to make sure that Oklahoma and Texas don't play in the Big 12 championship game.
Is that
their last year there? That's, I mean, again. Allegedly, right? But here's what has to happen for Oklahoma to get in. If Texas loses to Iowa State, right, and this is assuming Oklahoma wins out, Texas loses to Iowa State. That's one scenario this weekend, which could happen, right? Which could happen because that gives Texas 2 losses, Oklahoma 2 losses. Obviously, Oklahoma has the tiebreaker if head-to-head is going to matter now when y'all said it wasn't with all these tied teams. Second scenario, Texas beats Iowa State, but then next week they lose to Texas Tech and Iowa State beats Kansas State, right? That's scenario number 2. So even if Texas wins this weekend against Iowa State, if they lose to Texas Tech next week, and in that same weekend, Iowa State beats Kansas State, then Oklahoma goes. Or take Texas out of it. All right, let's say Texas is going. Oklahoma goes if Oklahoma State loses to either Houston or BYU. Those are the last 2 games. So if Oklahoma wants help from Texas, they have to hope they lose to Iowa State this weekend, and then Oklahoma wins out and they're in. Or if Texas wins this weekend, Texas loses to Texas Tech and Iowa State beats Kansas State next weekend. Or take Texas out of the equation. If Oklahoma wants to get in over Oklahoma State loses to Houston or BYU because Oklahoma State has 2 conference losses. Oklahoma has 2 conference losses, right? Oklahoma State has the tiebreaker because they beat Oklahoma in Bedlam because now that matters. But if Oklahoma State loses one more game, now they have 3 losses. There is no more tie. So that's where I have it right now.
Are they or are they not changing the rules in the middle of
They said that the Big 12 said they were going to make a clarification on the tiebreaker rules, and that's supposed to come out. But it looks like there may be some changes, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Well, the third.
So for a Texas-Oklahoma rematch in the conference championship, they'd both need to win out, and Oklahoma State would need to lose a game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For Texas to play Oklahoma.
Just do it like fantasy, man. It's points forward, points allowed. That's what.
No, I already told you I got the best idea. Oh no, 3-team tie at the end. All right, the head-to-head does it. Punt, pass, and kick.
Or you send someone like back in the day to defend your city.
Power slap,
right? You send someone who guy
to do what,
who protects your city.
What do you mean
to fight to the death?
Power slap.
You're gonna have them fight to the death.
You want to go to the playoffs or what, dog? Like, what do you mean?
Jeez. All right. What else we got?
All right. We got Padres Blake Snell and Yankees Garrett Cole both won the Cy Young Awards. This was Blake Snell's second win. He's won one in each league now, National League and American League. Garrett Cole had finished second twice and top 5, I think, 3 other times. Finally won the Cy Young.
Good for him. At least the Yankees won something.
Yeah. Okay, that's a subtle shot, but that's fine. I'm not worried about that.
It wasn't subtle.
I'm not going to come up.
All right.
No, I was making fun of the Yankees.
Can I please give Garrett Cole congrats? GC, great year, buddy. We're all proud of you. Sorry everybody on the team let you down.
Snip that. Snip that, Yankees. All right, Draymond Green suspended 5 games for, what did he put, Rudy Gobert in a headlock or something? Do we have the clip?
Oh, Rudy Gobert!
Rudy Gobert.
I want to see it.
Let's play it.
Scoreless.
We'll start with Klay Thompson and them up top.
And then,
get off me. No, you get off me.
Look at Draymond.
Draymond just went for Rudy. First of all, a couple things here I start with. If you're on the Bucks and don't help your teammate out, you're a coward. Karl-Anthony Towns, Karl-Anthony Towns, what are you? You're 9 feet tall. What are you doing? You're letting your boy get choked out right in front of you. You're holding him back.
I start choking you.
No, yeah, like Draymond Green, you're on the ground. You're on the ground unconscious.
You know, I think you got to be in two camps here. For the people that say they wish the NBA was old school like it used to be, but they hate Draymond Green, that don't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Outside of if you just hate the Warriors. I'm talking about the style of play. Like, to me, I watched this Draymond Green mixtape, and it looked like one of the old,
The
like
80s.
80s, early 90s NBA. To be honest with you, I don't mind it. I like the physical. Do I like Draymond Green kicking Steven Adams in the groin? That's too far though.
Well,
like we're kicking guys in the squirrel meals.
I guess a few things. One, Draymond Green is a constant problem. This is always happening. And two, he's the tone setter for that team, and they win a lot of championships.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
No, it's fine. I'm all for fighting. Okay, we can blow the whistle. We can meet at half court. That's fine. I'm not all for kicking guys in the nuts. Draymond's done it 3 times.
He didn't do it there, though.
3 times.
Yeah.
No, he just snuck a guy. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He snuck a guy, which I'm fine with. I'm more disappointed than Timberwolves than I am. I expect this from Draymond, right?
But Cat's soft. Like, you know,
you got Cat who's soft. Even Patrick.
You listen to him on that Call of Duty.
Patrick Beverly came out and called him out and said he taught him better than that. Rudy Gobert's softer than Sharman.
Dude.
I mean, he's the softest 7-footer in the league. Shaq calls him out every 2 days. But no, this is who Draymond is. First of all, anybody who gets in the region of touching Klay Thompson or Stephon Curry will get your ass beat immediately. Yeah. Generational players. But if you're the Bucks, where's Ann at? Anthony Edwards, you're from Georgia, dog.
Talking about the Timberwolves?
The Timberwolves, the Bucks. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry, just
you got the Bucks
all around.
Yeah.
No, I knew Giannis mixtape just came out. It was really good. I watched it this morning. But no, if this is the Timberwolves, you're disgusted. You're disgusted because there's nothing more that gets me, not only as a coach, but as a player, is when stuff goes down, you see guys on your team not help out your
That's
boys.
when you find out.
That's when you find, when bullets are flying in sports, right? When you react and don't have the time to think, and you do that, I can't trust you.
I mean, hell, Draymond punches his own players.
And the Wizards are just, Jordan Poole is slowly turning into an insane person. Like, he thinks
Dylan
he's
Brooks?
a lot better. Like, he's killing the Wizards by himself.
Like Dylan Brooks?
No, he's killing the Wizards by himself.
Dylan Brooks
watch the Wizards. It's him and Kuzma.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's go ahead and get to calls.
All right, let's do it. We've got Devil Doc in Indiana. I think he tried to call yesterday, so Pongo alert. Devil Doc, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing this morning?
What's up,
man?
All right. So my question today, and I feel like I've done as much research as I can on this topic, is the Heisman voting. So Timmy V kind of talked about it. I believe it was yesterday a little bit, but I had a water cooler situation happen a few days ago where
Did you win it?
I wanted to beat I wanted to beat him with the water cooler.
Yeah.
Nice. That's one way.
He's an absolute genius. Sarcasm insert there, right there. But anyway, so he believes that Bo Nix is a shoo-in for the Heisman. I have a few problems with that. I wanted to talk to you guys because I want to see what you guys think, because maybe I am wrong. Not wrong very often, but maybe I am.
Mm-hmm.
So Washington is number 1 in the country in statistical offense, 378 yards a game average.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon's number 2 right behind them. I think they're right at 370. But here's where I think it gets interesting. Washington's defense is kind of crap. I think on Washington, their defense on rushing defense is hundreds.
Yeah. They're an average defense.
Correct. I think actually the rushing defense is a little better in their passing, but regardless, they're a mediocre defense. Oregon's defense is ranked a lot better. Yep. Oregon's offense is, their rushing is 17 in the nation, yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
Washington's is 101st in yards per game rushing. Does that not make it a better argument for Penix Jr. that literally the reason they're winning all these games and that they're 10-0 right now is got to be, it can't be their mediocre defense, it's got to be their pass game. The rest is mediocre.
Yeah, I agree that Washington depends more on Michael Penix to win than Oregon depends on Bo Nix. They both depend on him a lot, right? They are vital.
Yeah.
But I think if you took Washington, if you took Michael Penix off Washington, it would hurt Washington a hell of a lot more. And I say that and I mean that, than if you took Bo Nix off Oregon. That's not a shot at Bo Nix at all. We've been rooting on Bo Nix the whole time here. But I think when it comes down to the Heisman, you're comparing these two guys. The beautiful thing about this situation is they've already played once, right? Michael Penix was able to win that game. It was at home. And I hope they get to play again in the Pac-12 championship, because I think that could be neutral site, similar numbers. If Oregon wins, it makes it 1-1. One team's going to the playoff, one's not. I think we have a de facto Heisman game in the Pac-12 championship between Washington and Oregon if we get to see that. I think where the argument becomes hard is if we don't get to see that, is if Washington loses to Oregon State or somehow we don't get Washington and Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. But I think if we're talking about importance to team, and I think we got to be, and we're going to dive into this more when the Heisman gets a little bit closer. But I think a lot of it is how you view the Heisman. Do you view the Heisman as the best player in college football, the most valuable player to his team in college football, which Michael Penix is in that running, all right, and he's got the numbers to back it up? Or is the Heisman the most valuable player on one of the best teams, right, that has big moments in big games? I think there's a formula to it, which we're going to dive into it. But, yeah, I think Michael Penix is more important to Washington than Bo Nix is to Oregon. I agree with that.
Well, I mean, also, if you say it that way, I mean, you can't not put, as much as I hate to say this because I hate Ohio State, you got to put Marvin Harrison Jr. in that conversation, I believe. And I could also see Daniels for LSU, even though they have lost 3 games. I mean, he's
Jay Daniels.
Jane Daniels is having the best year in college football.
Yeah, for sure.
Jane Daniels is the best player in college football this year, and it's not even close.
Yep, I agree.
It's not even close. Well, what big games has he won? I get it, not a lot, but what big game has Bo Nix won?
No.
Utah?
I mean, that doesn't really count without the,
And I mean, he has
Utah's
3 losses. He can't win the
be.
Heisman with 3 losses. Oh, Lamar Jackson won the Heisman with 3 losses.
Tim Tebow did it.
Tim Tebow won the Heisman with 3 losses. RG3 won the Heisman with 3 losses. Ricky Williams won the Heisman with 3 losses. Like, that's not an excuse. The Heisman should be the best player in college football this year. And Jay Daniels gets punished because his defense is historically atrocious.
Yeah, and I don't want to get in this argument right now, but like if we do open the door to the best player in college football, then hypothetically you could not make a bowl game and have a guy win the Heisman.
Yeah, I mean, you could be putting Brock Bowers up there, who's missed games too and doesn't necessarily have the stats of some of those guys. But I'm looking at him like, man, that guy not only the best at his position, he might be the best player in college football.
Yeah, but you do have to have some more stats to back it up.
I get it, but that's where it becomes a combination, right?
Yeah, Double Doc, thanks. Great call, buddy.
Appreciate it, Double Doc. All right, let's go to Sasha in Austin, Texas. Sasha, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up, bro?
Good to hear with y'all again. Great time at the Booster Club tailgate.
Oh yeah,
and all that. So we got to crack open our Black Rifle coffee this morning.
There you go.
There you go. I heard it.
We do.
I heard it.
All right. So Jimbo's out, and Urban Meyer didn't step off the plane as soon as they had that announcement, which was my fear at the tailgate talking to you guys about it. So how is A&M going to mess up this next coaching hire and not be there for, more than 2 years?
Yeah. Well, Sasha, first off, thanks for the cigars, buddy. I got the one you sent me with the box sitting on the bar cart at my house. It was great to meet you guys, every one of you, the Bishop Club tailgate. I mean, that was overwhelming to meet everybody and people that came from all over the country. That was awesome. And at least somebody showed up for the Vandy game, right? But when I look at A&M, the longer this goes, the less I think it's going to be Urban Meyer. Because if it was going to be Urban Meyer, you want to hit the ground running. You've got signing day windows. You've got transfer portal windows. You got to get in there and start rocking and rolling. So the longer it goes, because to me, it's, all right, if it's not Urban Meyer, it's obviously somebody that's coaching somewhere. And if it's Mike Elko, he probably told him, hey, we got a couple weeks left in the season. I want to do this right by my players, or Jamie Chadwell. And I respect that. But eventually you do got to hit the ground running. So that's a very astute observation there, Sasha. A lot of people don't trust Ross Bjork, right? And I understand that. I think at the end of the day, if you're A&M and you're looking at making this hire, the big splash is obviously Urban. There's a couple of huge names out there. You're not getting Dan Lanning, right? You're not getting Dan Campbell. You might as well put that one on the raft down the river and push it. Is Mike Elko the best fit, right? Because what you don't want to do is go reach for somebody, right? You don't just want to go, and Mike Elko's still
somewhat of a reach.
Still somewhat of a reach. Yeah, I agree with that, right? Like, again, you've got, a year and 3/4 at Duke. You've had great returns, right? You look at what they're doing. Look what they did last week without Riley Leonard. What he's done at Duke is very, very impressive, but we still really don't know. Mike Elko isn't a proven guy. To me, Jamie Chadwell is more proven than Mike Elko is with what he did at Coastal Carolina, building that up, now what we're seeing him do at Liberty, but that's still somewhat of a reach. So there's no such thing as a 100% surefire hire. I still think Urban Meyer's the closest, but what you don't want to do to me is go reach in the NFL with a guy with no college experience. You've got to get a guy that understands the lay of the land. I know NIL helps in recruiting, but right now when I'm looking out at the market, I don't see a ton of great candidates out there outside of the one that I've kept saying in Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. And really, like everybody's saying Mike Elko. Mike Elko was part of the culture that Jimbo built there whenever he came in there in 2018. And I think it just continued the problem.
Yeah.
I think it's time to bring swag back to A&M. There's one guy who I know has swag, and that's Prime.
Stop it.
You bring Dion to A&M, okay?
They don't have a recruiting problem. They've been recruiting.
Okay, that's fine.
Need to develop talent.
Prime can build a culture and hire good coordinators. That's all it is.
Well, and then demote them when they're not the problem.
I mean, you hire. I think Prime could bring good enough coordinators in there. Look, A&M, you're just lame right now. That's what you are. I mean, look, and I'm saying this because I love you.
Well, I mean, we have been since 1937. So.
Yeah, I'm saying this because I love you and I care about you. It's just lame right now. Nothing really gets me excited about A&M. The yell dances, guys in overalls. There's not a lot of swag walking around A&M. I remember the Johnny Manziel days, the Mike Evans days, the swag that was dripping around that field. It's time to bring that back. And there's one guy who's on Aflac commercials. There's one
Urban
guy.
Meyer brings swag.
Yeah, you don't know if he's going to have a heart attack the third week on the job.
Well,
there's one guy who can fix it all, okay? Who can come in, and look, it's a reach. I know that, but there's not a guy out there that's not a reach. But there's a guy who I think come win now and maybe bring an NFL corner, maybe bring an NFL quarterback, and that's Prime. That's who I would go get.
Sasha, we'll see.
I'm down for that. My fear is that Jerry Jones gets in Deion Sanders' ear and ends up at Arkansas.
That would look.
Well, Jerry Jones just needs to work on winning a playoff game.
Yeah, Jerry Jones just needs to worry about not letting Dak Prescott blow it in the playoffs again this year. I can't wait to watch it. But Sasha, great talking to you, brother, as usual.
Thanks, Sasha.
Hey, Jake, how was that barbecue sauce, by the way?
Oh my God, I finished it last night. The salt lick, the honey pecan. Son.
You holding out on me, Doug?
Son.
He's holding out
I got it. Like, Sasha, I got to get some more. I got to order some more. The original's really good, too. But that pecan, ooh. Woo, woo.
Love you,
Make you say, ooh, I love your muscles, shut. Thank you, Sasha.
See you, Sasha.
Cigars and barbecue sauce, that's my dog.
All right, let's go to John in Birmingham, Alabama. John, how you doing?
Ham.
What's up, guys? It's Green Machine here. It's been a while since I called in.
The 205, baby.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that guy J-Boy from Baton Rouge last week, that was pretty funny, huh?
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, that's pretty good. I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that was. I wonder if he's from Birmingham.
Is it your sister's birthday?
No, it's not. Hey, I promise I won't do a prank call like that again.
Hey, I know you're good. I don't know if you've seen Ed O lately in the bro bag. He's throwing it around.
Dude. Ed
O's living his best life.
I didn't need to see in my life, and that's videos one of them.
He's living his best life, son. I do like 9 push-ups.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the reason I'm calling is because I was just thinking about the debate, and I use air quotes here, between Jake and some guy on a message board.
Oh, Charlie 5?
Yeah, I guess it was Charlie. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah. So you were just talking about chipping, Brock Bowers on that one play, and I'm just asking schematically because I'm trying to understand because I'm like NCAA 14 mind over here, Like,
so you're a genius,
man.
Yes,
well,
multiple.
I don't know about that. I always play offense. I always skip defense. To be honest, it's hard. Anyway, so I was just asking because who was supposed to chip in that play? Was it like a safety?
Yeah, no. That was one of the things that I said that they could have done when he's in line, right? Because I think people, you don't know what the offense is going to line up in. So you have to have multiple answers for things, right? So when you have your personnel groupings, like 11 personnel, 1 tight end and 1 running back, well, with that being Brock Bowers, he could line up on the end of the line of scrimmage. He could line up in the hip. He could line up wide. He could line up in the slot. He could line up at Z. So you have to have an answer for it. So if he's in line, then you have a defensive end that Chip can try and chip him on the way out. You can walk a backer up if you're going to bring him and pressure him, whatever. That's one way to do it. Typically, you see ends chip guys, right? You see it on offense and defense, right? Try and chip guys on their way out. Sometimes tight ends will chip defensive ends to slow them down and then get up on the route. What I was talking about in that one play, because I gave 3 or 4 subtle adjustments that I would have done, was that the linebacker, and this is on the touchdown that Brock Bowers scored, the linebacker had to get his hands on him at least a little bit to reroute him to throw the timing off. So that wasn't a chip necessarily. That was just what you do at linebacker when somebody comes in your zone. Typically, you get your hands on them and then you get off of it. But that helps the DB out, right? It helps the safety out because it slows that guy down or things like that. But chipping was if he was on the line of scrimmage, right? On the end of the line of scrimmage. If he's out, especially if he's off the ball, you can press him. That's not chipping. That's pressing him. But it's multiple things you can do because you don't know where he's going to line up. Because after all, defense is reactionary.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So you basically just chip when you're on defensive line.
Well, yeah, like your defensive end, right? Like if you're a defensive end and they come out and they're lined up in let's just say deuce out of 11 personnel is what we used to call it, where you got a tight end and then obviously the offensive tackle. Well, when you're pass rushing, some guys will pass rush through the inside shoulder of that tight end to try and slow him down at least a little bit to give other guys time. And it takes a little bit away from the defensive end. You don't want to have to do it. But then on the other side, like I said, some guys, especially in max protection, will bring in a tight end to help chip a defensive end if there's a defensive end causing trouble. So it just depends on where the tight end lines up. But at the end of the day, you want to get your hands on Brock Bowers at some point. You can't give him free releases and just let him run out there and walk along the tulips because that's what happens. But a lot of that, I know that linebacker was told to get his hands on Brock Bowers. The kid just didn't do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay. So it's more like not like a scheme you draw. It's just like something you do with.
It's an adjustment, right? You have schematic adjustments and you have physical adjustments, right? Adjustment isn't just one thing. I think sometimes people think, oh, it's just schematics. Well, we need to run this coverage against this look. No, you have technical and physical adjustments you make during the play. Hey, we need to press this guy. Hey, you need to make sure if you get this look that we scan this guy to the backside before we do anything else. There's a lot of adjustments. They're not just schematical. They're not just physical. That was my whole point, was that there was small, I thought, obvious things that Auburn didn't do, whether that was the player not executing it after he was told or was the player not told. I wasn't in the huddle, so I don't know. That's why you have to give multiple answers because you don't know what's going to come out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yep.
Appreciate it, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, man.
All
right, let's go to Josh in North Carolina. Josh, how you doing?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. I can't wait to go to this Tennessee-Georgia game with one of my best friends. We bought the tickets on Monday. It's definitely a very last-second trip, which tend to be the best ones, in my opinion.
100%, yeah.
And I was watching the show on Tuesday. Somebody on the show had some very interesting takes on the Tennessee-Georgia game, and they need to get off my lawn. This one hurts me.
I think I know who it was.
Because I view this guy as a big brother to me. But, Blaine, you need to get off my lawn.
Look, man, you want me to sit here and lie to you? You want me to sit here and lie to you? It's going to be a bloodletting. That's what it's going to be. Like, look. You're at home. I get it. Hold on. You're at home. I get it. You're 5-0. You play great at home. It's tough to win there. And, look, everyone has a shot in a game, right? Everybody has a shot to win the game. It just always seems that Georgia has a bigger gun when they show up to the game. You're going to be close in the first half, 7, maybe 10, 13 points. They're going to give you a glimmer of hope, right? A glimmer of hope. Then you're going to look 7 minutes past the third quarter, and they're just going to slowly push your head underwater. All right?
The praying mantis.
Slowly push your head underwater, and then you're just going to go to sleep forever. This is what Georgia does. And I'm not saying that they do it to everybody. I'm not just saying, you think Joe Milton's going to come out here and throw y'all to a win?
I think I think we have a better chance than you're giving us. I'm not saying it's a freaking automatic win, but I mean, if Auburn, which I view as the special education team that they are on offense, can get within 7 points, I'm pretty sure Tennessee can do.
Well, I mean, if a special education team wins a natty before y'all, then what does that say about y'all's team?
Well, it says you paid $200,000 to get Cam Newton. So
well, a lot of people say. A lot of people say. I heard it's 165.
Wait, Josh. You know I love you, but why did Jeremy Pruitt get fired with calls?
Y'all were
paying guys that couldn't win. That's even worse.
I can't help that, but you know what? I'm going to go 10 toes down.
I love it. Standing on business, baby.
Big kahoonies to, prove yourself. I got 2 upsets this weekend, buddy.
Give them to me.
I got Tennessee over Georgia. What would be the upset of the year? And I got Kansas State over Texas. I'm slamming both money lines. All right.
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State over Texas. And look, do you think I want to sit here and talk about Georgia winning every Saturday? It doesn't feel great. Okay, I don't. I'm an Auburn guy. The 2 things I would love to see is Bama and Georgia lose every game. Every game,
but we get the opposite.
But it doesn't happen ever. Okay, I'm just saying you can get your hopes up. All right, next thing you know, you're asleep in the second round and you don't know what happened, and you're asking coach what happened when you're lying on the mat.
He threw in the towel right over your head.
So. Hey, Josh, give me a score. Give me a Tennessee Georgia score.
Tennessee Georgia, I think will be 33-30, last-second field goal wins it just like Alabama last year. And when it happens, I'm taking the field goal post from the field. Throwing it in the river. I'm going to throw it on Blaine Crane's lawn and tell him to get out.
Well, it's going to be in the studio.
That would be great.
I live in an apartment, so we'll see how that goes. And second of all, we're going to come put it in the studio. Look, I hope y'all pull it off, man. I really hope y'all pull it off.
Josh, hey, it's always fun, Josh. Hey, have a good time, man. Drink one for me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Josh. All right, I want to get one more here quickly. Chris, you're the last caller of the day. We got 30 seconds.
Well, fellas, I hope y'all are having a good day.
You too, man.
I love the hope from fan bases. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm not a Georgia fan by any means, but, man, sometimes when you start kidding yourself, it's going to hurt even more. So be careful with giving yourself hope, because if Joe Milton and Josh Heupel and that defense is giving you any hope this year, I don't know what you're watching. That might be one of the worst. What are they, 5-6 wins, somewhere around there, 7? I don't want to take no credit from them, but might be one of the worst good record teams out there. But what I was calling about originally was Texas A&M hiring Mississippi State. Dan Lanning, listen to me, Dan Mullen was interviewed about going back to Mississippi State. He has a number of boosters that have called him as far as his interview went, and he said, well, I'll never say never. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know if that's possible and why they would do it. But Texas A&M, from what it sounds like from all of these coaches, I don't know who's going to go there. Maybe they hire the head coach from Liberty. I don't know. But maybe it's time to get a new athletic director. And I was just seeing what y'all's thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I brought up Ross earlier, Chris. It's a good, but he's got to hit on this one, right? Yeah. You got to hit on this one. Like with the amount of money that was paid, and I think what did A&M get, $164 million endowment at halftime of the Mississippi State game, and they fired Jimbo Fisher. But he can't miss. Ross can't miss on this one. If he does, he's out. We know that football is king, but here's the thing about the Dan Mullen thing about Mississippi State. So you were the head coach before. Then you left me for a prettier girl to go to Florida. So why would you not just do the same thing again if we hire you at Mississippi State and you have a couple good years? Aren't you just going to leave me again? Like it's like taking somebody back that like cheated on you. Like I can never trust you again. Deep down, we can sit here and say, hey, everything's okay. I forgive you. Like in the arms of the... But no, deep down, I don't trust you. Like speaking about phone down at the table, why? Man, that's crazy. You're really busy on Friday nights.
He's 10 years younger and missing his 2 front teeth, all I can say. So she's not worried about him getting with anybody else.
Look, I can sit here and make the Eddie Munster comparisons if we really want to go down this road. Man. But if I'm Mississippi State, I can never trust you again. I just can't.
With Dan?
With Dan. Can't trust you.
Like, I just want to put a white coat and black gloves on Dan and put it in a lab and laugh for 45.
Well, if like all of a sudden, the TV I was watching, like it was like General Zod off Superman, and it was like Dan Mullen, who was like an evil villain. That's like, I've contaminated the water
not a hot
in 4
job
continents.
right
I'd be like, yeah, okay.
State, can Mississippi State get the type of coach that would never ever leave for a bigger job?
No, you want that coach,
right?
You want.
Well, it's to me,
succeeded at something.
To me, I think that's when if you go get maybe that Mississippi State has to reach on a guy, right? If you're going to get a guy to stay for a long time, because like you got to be the one that you had to be his first kiss, right? You have to be his first kiss. That first,
look,
never forget the first.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think anybody's like, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life coaching in Starkville, Mississippi. Nobody.
I think Starkville gets kind of a bad rap.
Well, there's a reason for that, right? It's not just a woozy.
I'm not saying it's a sprawling metropolis.
Like if you're anything, you want a guy to come in there for 2 to 3 years, have a bunch of success, and move on, and you just keep that cycle.
No, that's called App State. If you're Mississippi State, you want a guy to come. This is the SEC. You want to be viewed at like everybody else. You got to bring him. You got to give him the first kiss.
Let's see how many seasons.
That's just the truth. But Chris, we appreciate it, buddy.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.
7,
appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, we're here for a while, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Dan Mullen was there for 9 seasons.
Yeah,
max.
I mean, that's a long time.
Long time.
I don't fault him for taking the.
So 9 years of marriage, and we're good.
Well.
You punched the clock enough.
Yeah. Well,
go hang out with that Instagram model.
Then why don't you say every coach should stay at the school they're at?
I'm talking about the way the school should view it, like in the hiring process.
Yeah.
You want to bring in a person that's
maybe because
Dan shouldn't have took the Florida job.
I'm not saying Dan shouldn't have took the Florida job. I'm saying since Dan did take the Florida job, if I'm Mississippi State, no.
Maybe because it's the same conference, it's worse.
Oh, it does make it worse. Same neighborhood?
I mean, what? Louisville took.
You're
Bobby
saying with Mrs. Pritchett? That's who you left? You left to go to Mrs. Pritchett, the head of the PTA? Yeah, she got a facelift.
Oh, Miss Pritchett, man.
Oh, Miss Pritchett. All right, I'm going to get to Bet's Booster Club while I walk.
Let's go to Dakota Faulkner. What's up, Decode? Hashtag Ask the Boys. Do y'all think John Gruden is done coaching?
No.
NFL guy, or would he entertain a college job?
Not coming to college, and if I'm A&M, I'm not bringing in somebody that's never coached college football before.
I agree with that point, even though I really want John Gruden to coach again.
I want John Gruden to coach again in the NFL, and probably for the Buccaneers.
Let's go to Andy Wellender with a $2 donation. Appreciate it, Andy. Bobby Petrino at Mississippi State and Lane at A&M.
I don't think Lane's going to. What if you're Lane? But why? Why would you? The Bobby Petrino at Mississippi State, I can see it though. I can see that 100%.
So to Daniel Birch with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Danny.
Simon's
Don't
brother.
get that cheese, Danny.
Give me that cheese, Danny.
Go in my room. If Bama wins out and is left out, explain to me why anyone should schedule tough out-of-conference big games early. Should have rescheduled UCLA, eh?
Well, I think it depends on the scenario. Because if Michigan goes undefeated, Georgia goes undefeated, and let's just say Florida State goes undefeated, and it comes down to, let's say, take Oregon and Washington out of the picture, and it comes down to one spot left, and you have Texas and Alabama both with one loss. Well, it doesn't say anything bad against scheduling big-time non-conference opponents. You just happen to lose to the one that was left. Like, if we're going to have the argument over Oregon and Alabama, let's have that argument. Let's have that debate. We can have a good logical debate. But if it comes down to Texas and Alabama, that point's null and void because you did schedule a big-time out-of-conference opponent. They just so happened to beat you during the regular season. That happened to be the team it came down to. So I think it depends on the scenario.
But hopefully with 12-team playoff, that won't be.
Yeah, shouldn't be.
Let's go to JJ Juravech. Sounds like a hockey name. With the $2 donation. Appreciate it, JJ. Thoughts on GTOC B. Faulkner for a head coach?
Dude, Buster.
Or MSU.
He was our golf partner a couple years ago at the Pollock.
Yeah.
The Pollock golf tournament.
I love Buster.
Great dude. I'm so impressed with what Brent Key and Buster Faulkner and the whole. And look, we love Jeff Collins here. Jeff Collins is a great friend of the show. He's an incredible person. Tough turnaround there, but it seems that Brent, former Georgia Tech offensive lineman, and Buster Faulkner, what they've done to Haynes King, right? His motion isn't perfect now, but it looks better. But shout out to Buster, man. Really happy for you guys.
Yeah, a couple things quickly. Andy Wellender, $5 donation, and John Nash, $5 donation. Hey, make sure you put a message with the donation, guys, or I'm not going to be able to go back and find it. I appreciate your donos. I'll scroll back through after the show when I can see all the comments and see if I can find your message and read them tomorrow on the show. That's all the donations for today.
All right. I'm sure we got a little bit of time left, too. Tonight, yesterday went 1-1. Not pissed about it. Central Michigan wasn't able to cover. Now in the football bets I put out specifically just for football, just for college football, went 2-0 yesterday. Thank goodness about that Central Michigan cover up on the plus side. But tonight, Boston College and Pitt. I mean, and I'm happy that Jeff Haffington won over 5.5 games because I said it was easy money before the year. And after they lost to Northern Illinois week 1, thought that Titanic was going down like a sweet muffin. But this is basically two ugly chicks fighting. Boston College Pitt, give me the over 46 at -108. Then the Ravens, don't like 3.5. If you're going to take 3.5, take the Bengals plus 3.5. But I'm going to take the Ravens -2.5, buy it down. That's at -152. What do you got?
All right, tonight I'm going to take the Bengals plus 3.5, -110. I'm excited for a Thursday night football matchup for the first time in a while as they take on the Ravens. Also tonight, I'm going to take the Cincinnati-Baltimore over 46, -112. I think some points get scored in that game. And then tonight, I'm also going to take Darby Lou to dinner for our 4th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Bug.
Go, 4 years. I'm like 6 months in. It's going great.
Thank you.
First of all, the 10th team in the NFL Power Rankings is the Vikings.
Vikings.
With Josh Dobbs?
Vikings with old Josh Dobbs.
Wow.
Well, first of all, what a disgraceful way for Buffalo and them not to hit the over. Did y'all see what happened?
Yeah.
The kid, hold on to the football before you run into the end zone.
Yep.
It's day one stuff. I hit that. I go 2-0 yesterday on both overs. But, of course, we're not grown-ups.
That would have
Dead to me board?
Dead to me board. I don't know where it is, if it'll ever be a thing, but you're on it. Number 8. All right, today, give me the Ravens, Bengals over at 46.5, 46 flat, excuse me. I almost hooked myself. That's -110. I like points in this game. Okay, this is my fantasy week. I have to win this week in fantasy to make it to the playoff, and I'm going against my mortal enemy. And his name's Salka, a.k.a. the Reptilian.
How good is his team?
Right now, it's projected 121, 117.
Oh, God.
Justin Jefferson, please don't come back this week.
Get that cheese, Danny.
Please don't come in my room. All right? And give me Mark Andrews anytime touchdown ATT. Yeah, you also know me. That's going off at +165.
ATT, not first touchdown?
No, that's I have to dive in. And look, to be honest with you, it's feeling like, the tight end, not Irv Smith Jr. from Bama, but the other kid, the Tanner Hudson kid from the Bengals, are the backup running back for the Ravens.
I'm telling you who it is.
It's definitely not Rashawn Bateman.
It's Rashad Bateman.
It's not.
All right, Ace. He's going to take Lamar over 44.5 rush yards. That's at -125. And he's going to take the Ravens TTP. Is that an O or a U, David?
O.
Over 24.5 points. That's at -something in hieroglyphics. Like at -108?
Yep.
Are you coming at David's handwriting right now, dude?
Dude, it's terrible.
You coming at David's handwriting right now?
I'll be the first one to say it.
David's handwriting make yours look like they wrote the Declaration.
Well, I write in Sumerian, so it's just different.
You do write in Sumerian.
Yeah, so I do.
All right.
Let's get to the poll. Heartbroken Hog has a great idea. He said, y'all should actually make a dead to me board.
We're trying to get a dead to me board made up.
Yeah.
All right. Who's more likely to lose this weekend? Washington, Texas, Georgia.
Wait, Washington, Texas, or Georgia?
Georgia.
No, well, not them.
I'm going to say they said Washington. 41%.
Washington, you said what, 41?
41%. I like
42%.
First you have my curiosity. Now you have my attention. Georgia, 8%.
Yeah.
Texas, 44%.
Whoa.
Washington, 48%.
Get up now.
Listen, come on now.
Get up there. All right, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go grab some merch. Check out Bartesian and Good Ranchers, those fantastic deals. We have incredible sponsors. Appreciate you guys checking us out. Got a great show for you tomorrow as we head into Week 12. And like the chances of everybody getting through this weekend clean at the top, we're going. Gone. Flipped over on me.